My name is Einock Muhammad. I'm from the south side of Chicago, born and raised, and I'm a co-creator, co-founder of a public health organization called Hip Hop Detox.
We ask you about 40. The first question. This is the first time when you come to Iraq?
Yes.
First time?
Very first time. Never been here. Wow. I see it opposite of what has been positioned in media, the sensationalizing of Iraq as being a place of constant violence, upheaval, a place where there's no peace. Chicago, where I'm from, has been called Chirac, which was come from the name Iraq by saying that because of the warfare in Iraq or Iraq, it's become a term where the media has used it to say that the violence in Chicago is more than what happened during a time of war in Iraq. And so Chirac became, a name that people around the country, they picked up and they thought that that's all Chicago was about. It's about violence, about shooting, about war. And I know that that's not the truth. And I live there, so I see it's not. And so just as the media has sensationalized Chicago, I know the media has also sensationalized the country of Iraq.
Maybe you hear many news about Iraq,
right?
And you see maybe something about Iraq, but you see different or equal to you see, I don't know.
I see, and I've been experiencing man's humanity to man. That's what I've been saying. And I have to give credit to Stevie Wonder, the artist, because he spoke about in one of his songs the inhumanity of man to man. But we're seeing humanity, and we're seeing people looking at one another with the thought of service, with the thought of how I can be helpful, how can I assist you, because the spirit of Imam Hussein is the spirit of standing up for what's right.
What's your feeling when you see the shrines?
My brother Fanam, he's been saying all day that it's overwhelming, and I really do feel what when he says it's overwhelming. The word that I would use, I just felt blessed to be able to take it in, to be aware, to be sensitive. I'm completely okay with not being able to tell you all that I feel at this moment because I'm still just digesting it. But I think that the most important aspect of my experience thus far is my determination to make sure that when I am blessed to go back home, that I take that spirit of Imam Hussein and utilize it to help more people.
When you come back to America, inshallah.
Inshallah.
What you say to other people, especially maybe he is afraid to come to Iraq. American, Muslim or not Muslim?
Yes.
What you say to him?
Well, one of the first things that I've been saying to some people who've asked me, I say, Imam Hussein, alayhi salam, that's a story that most don't know. But you do know the story of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. But his memory and his work has been made just a holiday that people just celebrate getting off work. Many people don't really celebrate the sacrifice that was made, the martyrdom of his life being taken, and how he refused to just be quiet and to not stand up for justice and for truth. There are many people that I could just name that are martyrs that have fought for the rights of people in Chicago and in the United States against the tyranny of forces that are still pervasive today. So I say to those, you don't understand the story. You haven't taken time to listen. You just know about the sensationalized media version of what's going on in Iraq. But you really don't know because you really have not taken time to research. And you probably don't really even care because it's easier to go with your fears than to take the time to be educated and to learn.
Means you decide to come back another time to Iraq?
Oh, that's my goal. That's my goal. I don't want this to be a one-time visit. I'm looking forward to coming back to find ways to collaboratively work together and to do more to get rid of not only the stereotypes, but get rid of the poverty, find ways to work in joint ways just to make sense of what's going on so that we can become more humane to one another and to look at in a real way what can we do to resolve the conflicts that go on within our neighborhoods and within our cities.
What about the services of visitors about Albania, or what about Iraqis when you see food, drinks, another services? What about what's your opinion about this?
My opinion is that they have every right to feel the way they feel. Being in a position where you were not allowed for 25 years to not celebrate and to mourn the loss of life of the prophet's grandson, may peace and mercy and blessings be upon him. To take away something that's been going on for years that has been not only a tradition, but it's a reminder of how you must stand up against tyranny and injustice. I think that suppression has produced a shift and a yearning. And I think that whenever you have people who are 100% dissatisfied, that 100% dissatisfaction will ultimately lead to a 100% change and transformation. And I feel like we're in a time of a major shift. And the shift is going on amongst the people as well as in nature and in the universe. And I think that once we all can just grasp the reality that it's okay, there's a mighty change going on, and we need to allow that change take us where we need to go so we can be our best selves and help other people to be their best selves.
The last word for you. For other people.
Last words. Keep moving forward and refuse to stay in the comfort zone too long. The comforts of this world can make a person really not be their best selves. And I know that there's so much need, not only here in Iraq, but there's so much need amongst my people in Chicago that if we truly want to see transformation and change, we have to be okay with being uncomfortable a little bit. We have to be okay with the reality that in order to get from one state of existence to another, you have to be uncomfortable enough to do the things that you normally either wouldn't do, or you wouldn't have the patience to do, or you wouldn't be proactive enough to do. You have to be okay with being uncomfortable enough so that you can do what you need to do, because this is a moment where we're in a moment of time where we have to make change. We have to transform, because we shouldn't be comfortable with the idea of the next 2 or 3 generations going through what all the previous generations have suffered. And I think that we don't have a choice anymore. There's no choice.